Hey friends, it's Jasmine from Jasmine's Astrology, but you can call me Jay. Welcome and welcome back to my channel. Thanks so much for being here. I've got something a little different for you today. I'm going to be starting a new series called Planets in Profile, where I'm going to be chatting with fellow astrologers about the planets in profile. So my astrologer friends will come on the show with one or two planets that they feel a kind of like a deeper connection to, or that they just feel like talking about. And we will explore their likes, their dislikes about that planet, what they think are stereotypes about the planet, or what they think might be overlooked in the astrological conversation. And then even share a personal story about something that is connected to that planet. My first conversation is with the lovely Jasmina, and she shares her insights and love for Uranus and Mercury. And it was such a fabulous conversation. You're going to get some extra astrological tips and tricks and advice along the way. There is so much to learn from this chat. So I hope you'll enjoy it just as much as I did recording it. And make sure you check the description of this video for all the links to hear more, see more, learn more, work more with Jasmina. She has an amazing YouTube channel. She puts out forecasts every single day. You got to go check her out. And yeah, without further ado, let's get to this chat. Enjoy. Well, Jasmina, welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for being here.
Hi, thank you for having me. I'm so excited. We're almost the same name. We almost
I
have this.
know.
We almost share the same name, so I feel double connected with you.
I know.
Thank
And
you.
we're in the same country and
I
the
know,
province, which is just wild to me.
very wild.
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you for having me. I'm so excited. I really love your work, and I'm enjoying your meetups that you are organizing. So thank you for having me.
Oh my God, amazing. Yes, that's how we met. Well, I guess we kind of met on Threads, but
Yeah,
then I started a meetup and you're one of the regulars, which makes me so happy because I love your work too. Honestly, you're so inspiring. All of the video work
Mm,
that you do, it's incredible. And I mean, your astrology is incredible. So
thank
I'm
you. Thank
so
you. I
happy to
appreciate
have
it.
you. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Well, for listeners, watchers that don't know, who are you?
Well, my name is Jasmina. I have my astrology practice for, I don't know, almost, I don't know, a few years now. But I have been into astrology for a very long time. Astrology found me when I was around 11, 12. I think it was my first Jupiter return for those geeks who know more about astrology. And I have been, just fascinated by the magic of astrology, I would call it that. And then during my Uranus opposition, I kind of dived more, a little bit deeper, learning and practicing, and I just enjoyed. Yeah, so I use my name, Jasmina Brozovic Astrology, or I have my website and on other social media. I come from Steve Judd schools, so he's like a modern approach to astrology, let's say. I love the humanistic psychology part of it as well, but I'm digging now because I'm Gemini Sun, Gemini Moon, and Virgo rising, very mercurial. So I'm always learning new, always finding new techniques, new ways, new approaches. There's always, Gemini say for Geminis, they always have like at least two sides of a story. For me, it's like even more. So I'm learning new techniques and I'm implementing them in my work as well. So yeah, it's going to be a
Yeah.
lifelong journey for me as a Gemini. I love to learn. So finding new information, connecting the dots, looking for patterns. Astrology is so amazing regarding that because it's a never-ending source of information and knowledge, and it's just amazing.
Truly, like I sometimes feel like Geminis and Virgos as well are just sort of born for astrology because there's just so much that you can dig into. I mean, you cannot learn everything.
No,
It's
no,
impossible.
no,
Which
no.
is, I mean, sometimes that feels really overwhelming, but for the most part, it's like, oh, there's always something to get up the next day for. Like, there's always something to learn.
Yeah, what I found that, through learning astrology and practicing it, because you need to kind of practice to get a feeling of it, you kind of find your niche. You can, oh, I'm comfortable with this. Oh, I feel more at ease with this. So, it's not about knowing everything. It's about, kind of feeling comfortable with the things that you know and working on them and building on them. So,
I feel like that's really good advice coming from a Gemini, especially because it would be really easy to spread yourself thin with something like
yeah,
astrology and
yeah.
learning to like, yeah, finding that niche is so
Uh,
important.
it took me some time. I don't have a niche particular in per se, but I noticed some techniques or some things that are just not of interest of me. Like there's many astrologers who are researchers who like to dig deep and find examples and go through history. I'm not one of those, for example, right? So, or medical astrology, or
Yeah.
there are many of those that just I don't find particular interest in that. So but that's just me. So I'm saying there's a lot of for everybody. There's a lot of things for everybody. So it's
Yeah.
very interesting.
But I love the way that even though there's techniques and certain aspects that don't really work for you or that you don't want to sort of implement, you have this YouTube channel where you chat with just like dozens of different astrologers and you get to kind of like dip your toes into
Yes.
various aspects of astrology. So you still get to do that like Gemini thing, even if you're not bringing it into your like one-on-one practice.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the whole, the point of my channel and connecting with all these people is to give people an option to see, oh, look, this is here and this is here, because this is what I feel Geminis are in this world. They are born to do is connect people and informations. So finding information and just bringing it to the world, like, like a messenger, like a true messenger. Look, this is what I found. Look, do you need this? People often tell me, if they can find something, they just call me, oh, you probably know somebody. Even if you don't know, you know somebody who knows that, so kind of,
Yes, you're the ultimate networker.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
See how do with my, I'll do a lot of things with my hands. It's so
Yep.
Gemini, but I can't, I will stop. I just,
Oh, I do it too. And I don't know if it come like I don't know if it's my like Virgo midheaven maybe that brings
absolutely,
that out in me, but I am this all the time. So like
yeah.
let the hands fly. I'm totally fine with it. It's a safe space for your Gemini hands, don't worry.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, excellent.
Um, well, I guess like probably your favorite thing about astrology would be just that you get to keep learning. Like it's just a constant learning process. Would that be true?
Uh, yes, and as a true Virgo rising person, being of service to people,
Mhm.
helping people. This is I feel that astrology is such a great tool, forecasting tool, and tool that makes you be more aware of who you are,
Yeah.
right? So like getting to and understanding other people, understanding yourself and others, and just for forecasting tools. So helping people with this information, that also is drive for me, because I feel that raising awareness, because it's up to other people to make decisions. I tell every client, I'm not gonna give you advice or make a decision for you. I'm just conveying the message, the language from the stars. I just learning how to translate that language and try to explain it to you. It's up to you to use it, right? So that's what I feel. So it's very good. And when you have a feedback and, oh yeah, this that information helped me to make a better decision, right? So it's very nice. It's a good feeling.
Yeah, totally. I love that feeling. It's awesome. How do you use astrology for yourself? Like is there a way that you use it kind of in your everyday life?
Yeah, it's very important to be discernment, that they use discernment in astrology, because we get obsessed. In the beginning, I feel that everybody who starts digging, we just get obsessed. And when this obsession, it doesn't go away, but fades a little bit, then you
Right.
kind of use discernment and to how to use it, because you can use it for every little detail every day, because you're gonna go crazy, right? So it's very good to know. That's how I use it for myself, to know the major things that are happening. Like, for example, now knowing that Saturn is squaring my sun,
Mhm.
take a deep breath. Just, it's going to be hard, but then, you're going to get the results after. So I know this is going to last. And just knowing when it's going to end makes me, feel I feel better and more comfortable, and then I'm going to push it through, right? Or I have Neptune on my descendant against, just squaring all my angles, knowing,
Yeah.
okay, Neptune is touching me, I'm going to be maybe more tired, more, and just understanding that feeling. So I have Saturn Neptune transit for the next year or so, working with them, strategizing with them instead of just being frustrated or, so in that sense.
Yeah.
Um, on everyday level, I like to look at the moon just because it gives me I kind of understand, oh, the moon is next couple of days, it's in Aries, so it's like it's going through my eighth house. So I just understand, so understanding that, I can feel maybe, and just understanding that what the moon does to my chart, but
Yeah.
not like, oh my God, it's what is happening, right? So in that sense, that's how I use it. And just understanding what is happening in the sky at the moment. um the eclipses, of course, the lunations are important just because it helps you with manifestation as well. So
Yeah. No, I love that. Knowing like those bigger transits kind of helps to map out the quality of time, which is
uh,
so nice.
that's
Yeah.
beautifully said. That's
Yeah,
exactly.
thank you. Yeah, and then like the moon every day, just how our moods can go up and down. It's such an easy way to start learning astrology too, is to follow the moon because you're just
Absolutely.
gonna cycle through it so often. So,
Because I know moon is in Aries, it's making a nice aspects to all my Gemini placements, which are personal. So I'm
mm,
thinking, oh yeah, that's nice, right? It's going to give me a little bit of, Aries motivation, action. So I might talk more as well because I have Mercury in Gemini as well. So stuff like that. But knowing that, it just gives me some kind of confidence or guidance to how my, days. But I'm not obsessed with, oh, today's this, I have to. No, it's just
right.
somewhere there in my subconscious.
Yeah. So you're not looking at the chart of every moment and planning every email and
No,
like when you're gonna go for a walk and
no, because you have to live life, right? I have
yes.
family, I have, husband and my kid. They also have their rhythms, and we all have different obligations, so responsibilities. So it's you can't, right? You just
Oh,
it also there's no, you can't live life because then astrology becomes too Saturnian for me, right? Too many rules.
yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm a Mercury girl. I love it. I love the freedom of having the choice, to do stuff that I like. So in general, yes, but not in detail because you're gonna go crazy, as I
Yeah.
mentioned. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just not as fun.
No, no,
Yeah.
no.
And life should be fun, right? So,
Absolutely. And people get scared. Oh, this is hard aspect. Or, sometimes there's a good aspect, nothing happens. You still have to do it. I always tell, I had a client, oh, when I'm going to meet somebody, I said, yeah, this is a good period. But if you don't go out and meet somebody, nobody's going to come knocking at your door. Like, that's the whole point of astrology. It just, you have to be a part of that life. You have to be actor of your life to actually make it happen. So,
yeah,
yeah,
absolutely. It's not just gonna, you can't be passive.
no,
It just
no.
helps you know when to be more active, when you could be more
Yes.
passive. Yeah.
And
And
where to
everything in
focus.
between. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you focus on career or love life or kids or creativity or
Yeah.
yourself or your health? Just
Yeah. Amazing. Well, now
cool.
that we know a little more about you and your astrology practice, let's chat about some of your, I guess, favorite planets. Would we consider them that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So where do you
So
want to start?
yeah, so those are two, Mercury and Uranus.
Okay.
And Mercury, just because I'm so mercurial, I feel that I'm living Mercury.
I
Mercury is
wasn't
my life.
surprised when you said I'm going to talk about Mercury.
Yeah. It's so natural to me to talk about
Yeah.
it. So and then Uranus, I because I'm very mutable, I feel that mutable means that I'm adaptable or more flexible to changes. That's why I can embrace Uranus with more ease than maybe somebody who has a lot of fixed, planets or positions or placements, or just, some people don't like change. I love it. I love the excitement. I love the adventure. It can be chaotic sometimes and all over the place, but we're going to talk about those. But that's why I like both, because I feel that I am a constant change. My life was like that. So and I kind
Gotcha.
of, yeah, so
So, so Mercury and Uranus kind of like just
yes,
resonate with you for
very
the,
much,
yeah.
very
Okay.
much, very
All
much.
right. So that's why you chose them. So let's start with Mercury. What, I mean, it's like, what do you like about Mercury? What do you maybe even dislike about Mercury? Take me
Absolutely.
on the spectrum here.
Yes. So Mercury, first of all, what I like is the ability to connect, the ability to network, the ability to communicate, to express in a actually just not just verbally, but in a writing in writing in a right format, or even non-verbally. People forget, but Mercury also rules just your face expression. See, my hands are moving. So, just Mercury is a it's such a versatile has so many different beautiful things, so it's so versatile, so it goes beyond all types of communication, all types of connections, all types of, and it's about selling, it's about using your mind, your thoughts, your ideas in a practical way. Okay, so that's what I like. What I don't like about, I'm going to go deeper in that, but just in general, what
Yeah,
I don't like is that it can be scattered, it can be all over the place, it can like focus, it can just everywhere, it doesn't do anything at the end. So you know I have all these ideas and then I don't do anything, I don't,
right.
so that is a downside of Mercury. And it can be superficial, I have to say. And because it's not about research or digging deep, like for example Scorpio, it's about uh finding the information and conveying it to the world, and then the world can do with that information whatever it wants. It's not about a mercurial job. So people who are strong Mercury, they tend to be like that. Okay.
Yeah.
um what I like, there's a difference between Mercury ruling Virgo and Gemini as well, right? So Mercury as a Gemini ruler, it's more, it's more childlike. Okay, it's very like a kid who just want to meet friends and have fun and go around and see a movie or read a book, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Mercury with connection with Virgo is, it's more analytical, it's on its own, it likes to be actually by its own and just analyze, organize, strategize, find a way, the best way to what to do with all this information that Gemini actually collected.
Right.
Yeah, so Mercury can have that both of these signs,
Yeah.
both of those sides, right? Um, so I think my Virgo rising actually helps me, because if I didn't have it, I don't think I could be I would be able to do many things in life, because it really helps me to actually, go through, push through and to the end and see the result, and make, look at the final result. So that's kind of in
Yeah.
general.
Yeah, but then also, so you said you have Mercury in Gemini, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
so having the Virgo rising with Mercury in such good condition, I'm sure is super helpful as well. I mean, that also places it in like an angular house for you. So Mercury
yes.
is firing on all cylinders for you.
Yeah, and it's conjunct my moon, like that together,
Oh,
Mercury,
wow.
like 1 minute apart, literally. They're like,
Whoa.
so it's very, it's putting my, this is what also makes me feel safe and secure, right?
Mm,
Talking to people.
yeah.
In school when I was, just a kid, when people didn't want to talk to me, I felt so sad. Like, it was like the worst thing. Oh my God, nobody talked to me today. Like, that was the worst thing. Or having somebody to exchange ideas. It's so
Yeah.
good, like brainstorming, and then you learn so much from somebody. Oh, just going through,
Yeah.
it's so exciting. Like I can just talk to people about their lives, about what they know, and look, it makes me so happy. Like even talking to you
Yes.
now, I'm so excited. Like,
I can genuinely feel it too. Whenever we do talk, I
yeah,
always feel that from you, like this genuine emotional
yeah,
just resonance with being able to be in that exchange with people. And it's a really like it's such a beautiful manifestation of Mercury. To
yeah.
me, it's just like it really shines through with you. It's always so
Uh,
nice.
Also, but I had to be honest, when I was younger, I had to learn how to listen better. Okay.
Okay, yeah.
Just because I have all these things in my head, I need
Right.
to say it.
Yeah.
Let me just say it, right? So, you know, taking
Yeah.
a deep breath, listen to other side of the story. I did some exercise, like, literally pushing my hands and just, when you're in a meeting or somewhere, just being more mindful of other people, and that it's a conversation. It's not just a one-way
Right.
street.
Right.
So. That could
Yeah.
be a downside of Mercury. Yeah.
For sure. I can totally see that, just having so many things that you just like feel like you need to get out, especially probably when, it's in conjunction with your moon. It's like that emotional need. Like it's almost like a self-regulation in a way.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So it was a learning curve, I won't lie.
Sure. Yeah.
But I'm happy where I am now, and I'm happy that, I can talk to so many smart people doing astrology. Like
Yeah.
it's my ultimate happiness. I'm truly happy that I decided to listen to myself in my 40s and just said, that's it, now or never, and do it. Yeah.
That's so awesome. I love that. That's really inspiring. That's cool.
Oh, but
Um,
yeah.
okay, so what do you think with Mercury? What do you think are traits or like characteristics or whatever about Mercury that tend to get maybe overemphasized in the astrological conversation?
Uh, with Mercury, when it's a good placement, everybody, for example, feels that, oh, you probably are such a good writer.
Mm,
Okay, like for me, everybody who sees my chart, oh, Moon, Mercury. I don't actually, I don't feel that I write well. I
mhm.
never had. I was not a a writer. When you go to school, you have to do all your essays and stuff. I wasn't good at it. I feel that I'm much better in verbal communication.
Yeah.
Um, just because it's faster. For writing, you need time. So I think that was the problem, right? So that's like an overstatement. People think, oh,
Yeah.
you're a good writer. Mm-mm. For writing, you need something. You need some little bit of Saturn. If Saturn and Mercury are in a good condition together, that yes, then I would say yes, because Saturn gives you that discipline and focus that you can actually write. Or you have Neptune, that's creative writing, it's imagination, it's just journaling. Um, so I think that that's overemphasized sometimes, that people assume that if you have a good placement, very good communicator and very good writer. It doesn't have to be. If you're not listening enough, you're not a good communicator. If
Right.
you so there's those things that you always have to. That's why you can't just look at the planet. You have to look at the whole chart. But
Yeah.
it can be overly, kind of, or good salesperson. I'm not a good salesperson at all. I just can't. I just People tell me no, okay, no, Virgo
Right.
rising.
Yeah. I feel like you need a little bit of like Venus to help with the sales, right? Charming, smoothing things
Exactly.
over. I love your comment about Mercury working with Saturn for that
Yeah,
discipline and like actually, finding the structure to sit down and do the writing. Yeah.
absolutely. I
And
have no connection
I
with
mean,
those two.
the fact that you said it's not fast enough, you writing, I love that.
I'm being honest. That's really what I feel. So, it's one of those things that it's kind of overlooked. Like, oh, good Mercury placement, good position. It must be this. It's not. Like
Yeah.
I'm the proof of that for sure.
Right. No,
Yeah,
that makes total sense. I wonder too if like, Mercury in Pisces, where it's technically in a more difficult condition, but it's actually moving a little bit slower, it's pulling on those like more creative aspects. So maybe that's where, I mean, and we see that in the charts of like poets and
absolutely.
lyricists and stuff. So yeah.
I feel that though that Mercury might not be good at one-to-one conversation. Oh, maybe not in one-on-one, maybe in group conversations, or having, a
Right.
chit chat at the bank or at the store. But to write a poem, as you said, yes. So that's why it's important to see, where it is and how it is.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so do you feel that there are any things about Mercury that get overlooked?
Uh, yes. And you know how sometimes they feel that Mercury is all about the mind and nothing else, which is not true. There's a lot of intuition and also involved with Mercury. I know it doesn't maybe resonate to many, but I feel that uh, being in tune with your mind, kind of, if you have a strong Mercury, and you understand your Mercury, and your thought process is connected with your intuition as well.
Mhm.
So and Mercury, is an archetype. He was very smart, right? He was listening to everything, connecting, but he also used his gut to know when to, how to do it, how to approach a situation. It's not just mind. That's how I feel through all those Mercury stories. He was the one who went to Hades, connecting the both worlds, underworld and the other world. He had to understand people. He had to have that some kind of, maybe not compassionate, but some kind of sense of what people are and how to convey a message in a proper way. And
Yeah.
you just can't do that all with logic.
Right.
So so I feel that there's this layer of intuition that is behind Mercury, that we, using his gut, something inside, to convey the message.
I like that. I like that you bring up the what do you even call it? Like the mythology, I guess,
Yes,
around
yeah,
Mercury and the idea that it was the psychopomp that would take souls to the underworld. I mean, you can't, yeah, that's not necessarily a logical, rational journey that you're going on. It's
right.
very spiritual and emotional.
Yeah, that's what I feel. That's exactly, it's perfectly said. That's what I feel, that this is maybe not emphasized enough in astrology,
Yeah.
or just taking for granted, or not even, or dismissed as a Mercury trait.
Yeah. And that's one of my favorite things about Mercury too. I think it adds such an interesting layer to the planet.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. He's just, he's like a fast, all over the place kind of guy, very curious. Oh, curiosity is number one for Mercury, right? So
Yeah.
being curious, and yeah, that's, but I think it's also has a, yeah, as I mentioned, part of something inside that
Yeah.
leads him to on his journeys.
That's beautiful. I like that.
Yeah.
Amazing. Well, I feel like this will be really hard for you to narrow down because you've probably had so many, but is there like a memorable experience that you had with a particular Mercury transit or, something that happened where you were like, "Oh, that's my Mercury." Something like that.
It's very hard to pinpoint because it's all the time.
Yeah,
It's
yeah, I
everywhere
figured
because
as much.
yeah, so it's very hard to pinpoint a situation for Mercury, and it's a fast moving planet. It affects all of us very often. Mercury retrogrades, um, as well. It's interesting if you use the annual perfection technique, the traditional technique of looking which year is highlighted in your life, and then if the ruler is Mercury,
Yeah.
I find that those years were more, for me, more, I had more impact, like more visibility for me, more success in my work. So that's what when I found that, there are more, because they're ruling my first and 10th house, right? So that's why. But that's what I felt Mercury more, like, oh yeah, this is it. This is what Mercury does, right? It helps me with those stuff. Yeah.
Okay. So you feel Mercury all the time, but
All
then
the
it was
time.
during those years that it was like you were able to just kind of really pinpoint and see it a little bit clearer.
Yeah, I'll give you an example. So last year, so I was born in June. So from June 2023 to June 2024, Mercury, I was in a 10 house perfection year
Oh,
ruled by
okay.
Mercury.
Yeah.
And, this is when my astrology kind of business blew up, and, the social media, the connections with other astrologers, with clients, with people, it just was all over the top. So I really, and I was doing the mercurial things, connecting, communicating, social media. I did a newsletter, literally, uh, everything that is connecting with Mercury, conveying the message, learning. I had a workshop teaching everything. Like it was everything happened in a year. So it was really like a big year. Yeah.
And was some of that like conscious? Did you see the Mercury ruled year approaching and you thought, like, I'm going to go and take this course or I'm going to really up
And
my game on YouTube, or it just kind of organically, or both,
it,
maybe?
both. It was a both, because I kind of, okay, let's rebrand myself. Let's see how I'm going to present myself. So I was like conscious about that. But then what I'm going to do, I didn't make a long-term plan. I was like, okay, I will scroll. You know how this is typically Gemini Mercury person, people scrolling and then looking, oh, look at this person. She's doing that. Oh, I want to connect with her or with him, or, I want to do this. I want to talk about that. And then just, that was, I didn't have long-term plans. I had to do this many videos this week, or no, it was very, but I knew that I want to rebrand myself and present myself in a way. So yeah,
Very cool.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I can totally see how Mercury ruled years would be pretty big for you, especially with the first and the 10th house. I mean, like the two, busiest, most visible houses. So it totally makes sense.
Yeah, so this year, I mean, moon. I don't know, the moon, the moon ruled years are just, I don't know, and it's ruling my 11th house. So it's also about socializing, but I think it's more a deeper connection maybe with people. And anyway, it's
Yeah, I mean
different.
it'll still be highlighting some Gemini stuff for you though with your moon in Gemini. So it's sort of like a soft transition.
Yeah, I'm when we talk about Mercury and giving me as an example, he's my final dispositor. All the planets in my chart talk to him at the end. So he's the boss. He's the main guy. So that's why I say it's very hard for me to kind of I can only talk from my experience when I feel that it's not, working well or working well or where I feel the impact is with him. But uh yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Well, I think speaking from somebody that's on the outside of it, I feel the Mercury, I feel the Gemini coming through. And it's probably just that, like,
Mm.
you know this about yourself, but since you live in it every day, it's
Mm.
probably harder, or you maybe think it's like not so distinct, but it feels quite distinct from over here.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Yeah, I don't feel it. It's just, this is
Yeah.
normal for me. It's very natural, very like that's what I'm saying. So,
Yeah.
thank you for that, by the way. Thank you.
Yes, for sure. Well, do you have any other final thoughts about Mercury before we move on to Uranus? Or shall we
Uh,
move on?
just a quick note to everybody who is learning astrology. Uh, because Mercury likes to communicate, look with which planets and with which placement he communicates in your chart. That's how you're going to express yourself at more ease or not as so much easy at ease when you see which planets are involved with Mercury. So that would be just my tip for everybody, because those are going to be very important. If it's a connection with Saturn, your communication is going to be maybe more dry or cold, even if it's Mercury in Cancer. It doesn't matter. It just gives that flavor, those connections, because he communicates with Saturn. So he understands him.
Yeah.
So that's just an example.
No, that's a really great tip. And I feel like that's a good tip coming from us already talking about your Mercury moon connection. So
Right.
I'm hoping people can already like visualize that. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, that's just it. Otherwise, uh, Mercury is also a trickster. It can be all over the place. So, uh, if you feel sometimes um, that you are scattered, choose two things. That's what this is what I also told people who have Gemini. Jupiter is in Gemini now, and we can have more ideas, more thoughts, more things. Choose two.
Yeah.
So as a Mercury tip, choose two things. For
Yeah.
everything that Mercury is involved with, it's gonna be much easier. That's another tip.
Jupiter in Gemini has been just, I mean, I can't choose two words for it. It's too many words. Like it's just been all the things. It's wild.
It's wild. So that's why, just you need to kind of step on the ball and choose two, and that's it. Otherwise, you're not gonna. This year is gonna be nothing. It can be
Yeah.
nothing.
Yeah. No, that's great advice. Good call.
Yeah. Okay. Thank
Okay,
you.
so Uranus. I mean, you kind of mentioned why you chose that planet or
Mhm.
this planet, but is there anything you wanted to add to that? Like, why'd you bring Uranus to the table with Mercury?
So first of all, he brings that the excitement um and something new and innovative, something different, something unique, which my Mercury also loves, right? Uh, also they say that Uranus is a higher frequency of Mercury. So, Mercury rules also the nervous system. So Uranus is, so it's, you can see like, my, why am I like this all the time? Because this is very highlighted. So, people who have, the electricity shocks you experience, if you have strong Uranus in your chart, or if Uranus is transiting, doing something to your personal planet, you can have more tinglings, you can feel like more
Ooh,
shocks, right? So
yeah.
that's Uranus. That's literally what it is, little shocks. I like those little shocks sometimes because it makes me feel more alive.
Yeah.
That's the basic point. It makes
Yeah, I
me,
mean
yeah.
it's like Frankenstein's monster coming
Yeah,
to life. Like you need that electricity. Electricity is life, you know?
right?
Yeah.
Yes, right. So that's why I like it. And you were, when we talked about Mercury and you asked me about significant situation in my life. For Mercury, I can't pinpoint, but Uranus I can.
Yeah.
And it was this Uranus opposition to Uranus. First of all, I became a mother for the first time. There was like a big awakening, change, and then deciding that I want to be an astrologer. Like this is something that I want to pursue. It really awakened me in a sense that people say, oh, it's a big change. Yes, it's a big change, but if you embrace it for good, it can really bring you, it can bring you such beautiful things. It was chaotic. I won't say it. It's hard to have, two jobs and being a mother and a wife and, not having support, but still I feel alive. And that's what it is about
Yeah.
Uranus, right?
Yeah. Yeah, Uranus can be so tricky. I mean, and depending on what it's in conversation with, like what other planets it's talking with and what's happening, but I am very partial, especially to like a Venus Uranus transit. There's something really beautiful about that conversation specifically. I'm a pretty
Yeah.
big fan. I try to embrace it as much as possible. My Scorpio rising Scorpio sun gives me some trouble with it sometimes, but I think, yeah, I think you capture it perfectly with like, it makes me feel alive. It's so true.
Yeah. I mean, so Uranus in general, good aspects is, it's a change bringer, awakener. I'm going to repeat myself, but it's about a new, exciting, adventurous, futuristic, innovative, unique, different. On the other side, it can be rebellious. It can be just naughty and wild and uncontrollable and chaotic and also all over the place, right? In a larger scale, let's say, right, than Mercury. Um, you know, Uranus is, but without Uranus, you wouldn't have evolution.
Mm,
Think about it, right?
yeah.
It will always be status quo. Uranus is the one who's pushing us forward into the future to have something different and new and to evolve as people as well. It's a modern ruler of Aquarius. So it gives, it's about humanity. How can we evolve as humans? I I'm so excited about this Pluto in Aquarius trining Uranus in Gemini in the next couple of years, 3 times. I think it's gonna be a huge awakening moment for humanity. And I think it's gonna be for the better.
I hope so. I mean, who knows what that's going to bring, but that is certainly something to look forward
It's
to.
yeah, I don't know. People tell me, what do you think? Oh, it can be anything.
Yeah.
It can be from UFOs, literally, to meet ET, or it could be anything. It could be from driving cars to telepathy to having, like, it could be whatever. Like it could be all over the place. And I'm excited. I think we need it. I think humanity needs this leap of change.
Maybe that will be our like Frankenstein's monster coming to life moment.
I think it's gonna be
Crimes. Yeah.
amazing. I'm very excited.
Ooh, maybe we'll have to get together to talk about that. That could be really exciting. We could just like say the wildest theories about
Oh,
what
yes.
inspired.
Oh, conspiracy theories as well, because Aquarius, and Gemini, because Gemini has all this idea, and when
Well,
Gemini and
Pluto
Aquarius talk,
and Pluto
yes, right,
so deep and so weird with Uranus. Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
right. So I'm thinking, it can be. I think we can't even imagine now what this can bring. That's how wild can it be?
Well, and I think that that's always kind of inherent to any Uranus transit, right? It's like you can expect the unexpected only
Yes,
to a point. And
yeah,
every time I say anything about Uranus, I'm like, well, now that I've said it, it probably won't be that because we're
yes.
expecting it. So just like, I guess expect the opposite, but now it won't be that. Like Uranus, you just can't track it. Like,
No,
it's going to be
no.
what it's going to be on the day, and you got to roll with it.
Yeah, it's very shocking. It can be like, oh my God, that, like, oh, like it's very like that feeling.
Yeah.
People who have,
Aren't
mhm.
isn't the sun trining Uranus today as we record
Yes,
this? That's awesome.
it is so good. It is literally wanting us to talk about what we are, passionate about, and and be who we are, authentic selves, unique selves. It's beautiful. Yeah, I know. I think it's beautiful.
Yes. Well, okay, so that's a lot to love about Uranus. Is
Yeah.
there anything that you don't love about Uranus?
I mean, if you're not accept, like, okay, I heard this somewhere, and I'm gonna say it again. It's not. Those are not my words. I heard it somewhere. I can't pinpoint where. I'm sorry, but I would like to give a credit to a person, but I can't remember. So Uranus, you can do work with Uranus in the three ways. You can be the change bringer, the ones in the front rows doing the change. You can be the follower, just embracing it, or you can deny it or just don't accept it. If you don't accept it, you're dead. That's basically what it is. So unfortunately, that's the downside of Uranus, because
Right.
he's just going rolling. He doesn't care about what is happening. There's no he doesn't care about consequences.
Yeah.
People who have Uranus, strongly placed Uranus, especially with Mars, those are the bungee jumpers, the skydivers, the stuntmen, all the people who just love adrenaline, because Uranus loves adrenaline. So if it's not contained or controlled, it can be dangerous.
Yeah.
It can be accident prone, lots of, reckless, restless. So there's a lot of things, disruptive. You have this peaceful, you're resting, and all of a sudden, thunderstorm comes. Like that's Uranus, or earthquake, or, so, some things you can predict, but
Yeah.
being aware that it's normal, it's part of life, that sometimes you need to be shaken to evolve and to progress and to grow. That's good enough, for people who can embrace change. That's good enough, in my opinion. Just to
Right.
know that it comes, and then you deal with it, and then it goes away, right? Because usually Uranus, it doesn't last long like Saturn, but Saturn is very heavy, long lasting. Uranus comes and goes, and it just ruins lots of things because he just doesn't care.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess sometimes, unfortunately, that is something like, an earthquake or some sort of natural disaster that it happens to coincide with, which is just, I mean,
Yeah, it's
no,
devastating.
yeah, it's devastating. There's no real words to like make those situations any better, but
Yeah.
it is just a part of life as well, unfortunately, just like the rest of astrology. So,
And
yeah.
in our personal lives, it can be, bad, because you can have like a sudden relationship breakups, or just because, out of the bloom, your partner comes and they say, I'm leaving. And they're like, what, where, like stuff like that. It can be, you're not prepared for those kind of things, right? So, um, Uranus, opposing Uranus, they call it a midlife crisis. The people who don't know astrology, and many people, you see many people do get divorced then, because they want to break free from something. It's not about even their partners. It's something that the marriage represents, or the relationship, or the way they were brought up, or so those kind of changes can happen as well with Uranus. And it's funny that you mentioned Uranus and Venus. That's exactly, if you have like a hard aspect coming, this could be, divorce or breakup or something. That's the downside of this Uranus thing, because for someone it can be a breakthrough, and for the other person it's a breakdown at the same time.
Yeah.
So that's the downside, right?
Yeah, it holds the both and of that spectrum. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't know. For the most part, it's pretty fun.
It's fun, it's
Embrace it.
adventurous, it's giving you this adrenaline rush. It's giving you, for me, it gives me a purpose to live, kind of, because I know there's like a growth, and yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
That is the biggest thing for me, I think, especially with those two, the sun and the rising in a fixed placement. The like permission slip that Uranus often
yeah,
brings is like, okay, I can stop holding on to that now and I can just let it go. Thank
right.
goodness.
Yes, that's a very good point. That's a very good point. Yes, a permission slip. I love it. I
Yeah.
love that.
Okay, so is there anything that you think is maybe overemphasized with Uranus, something that we hear way too often with this planet?
Uh, yes. Awakener. I know I use that word as well,
Yeah.
but it's not going to happen that every person who gets hit by Uranus, they're going to be awakened. They're not. Unfortunately, I wish they
I know.
were. Right? So it can also, or the, even the bad thing, like disruption. It doesn't have to be, sometimes when some things get destroyed, it gives you space for new things that are even better, even if you don't see them at that point. So overemphasizes this, oh, it can be shocking. It's gonna be like it doesn't have to be shocking. It's if it's your response. If you respond to it, oh, I want to take this as a shocking news, then it's gonna be shocking. But if I take it like, I heard this. Let's see how I'm gonna implement this in my life, how this information affect, so you can, in that sense, it doesn't have to be that bad. On the other hand, I'm very mutable, I'm subjective. Don't take my word. I know that highly understand that people who have fixed placements, personal placements, for them, even a little change can be very disruptive.
Right. Yeah.
Even a little
Yeah,
change.
I'm sure there's many people watching that
Yes.
are like, oh, I actually really love a Saturn transit because that like slower, more methodical nature is much more
Yeah.
in tune with who I am. So no, thank you, Uranus. I don't care about your permission.
Yes. Yes, exactly. That's exactly. So, but sometimes those people need to be shaken up. So usually the ones who suffer the most are the people who resist the most. So that's what I'm saying. Embrace it, don't resist it
Yeah.
in any possible way. That would be my, so that's maybe overemphasize also overemphasize this. I know this spring we had Uranus Jupiter conjunction, so if Uranus talks to a planet, a benefic planet, like you said, Venus or Jupiter, we expect, I don't know what. First of all, those are long cycles. They
Yeah.
last for a long time. It won't happen in a day. You won't see it that day. It can be, anytime during that cycle, synodic cycle, it can happen. So it can be overemphasized the effect that Uranus have and immediately, because we expect, when there's an earth shake, there's immediate stuff. But sometimes it's not as immediate as we would want it to. So that's overemphasized in my opinion.
I totally agree. Sometimes a Uranus transit
Yeah.
happens and the earth is shaken, but you don't notice those cracks for a couple weeks, a couple of months, and then you
Yes.
can trace it back and you see,
Yes.
that's where that happened, but it's really just manifesting now. Yeah.
So that would be my thought on that.
And then is there anything about Uranus that we don't talk about enough?
Uh yeah, but I don't think we talk enough maybe about the necessity of it, as I mentioned before. I think
Right.
it's very necessary. Everybody's afraid, oh, Uranus, like it's very necessary in my opinion. It's for growth. And I don't know where is this coming from, but I'm such a huge advocate for humanity to change. And in the last few years, I really feel it. So I feel that it's necessary also in your everyday life. Think about it. If you're unhappy in some situation, if you're not satisfied, if you're not fulfilled, let's use that word,
Yeah.
then Uranus is needed. So that's what I feel that, we should
Yeah.
maybe talk about more than how needed he is.
Mm.
We need a little rebellion in us, each one of us, right?
Yes.
Why do we need to accept the rules as they are? Maybe they were good in that point of time, but they don't work for us anymore, right?
Mm. That's
Uh,
interesting. I wonder, would you consider like, would Uranus be something that we could look to for help with like more critical thinking skills because it is
Absolutely,
like going against the grain and like rebelling in
absolutely,
that way and not just taking things at face value?
absolutely. Yes, excellent. That's the best. That's what that those are my thoughts, and you put it right eloquently. Yes, yes, that's
Perfect.
exactly.
Ah,
I just want to mention one more thing.
yeah.
So my teacher Steve Judd. So you know how there's a generation when they have Saturn and Uranus together, like late 80s, the conjunction. So I love how he explained that generation, and that's maybe when we have uh how to embrace Uranus in our lives, and how to work Uranus and Saturn, how to work together instead of breaking the rules and being the rebellion and just crashing it all down. Let's bend the rules. So
Mm.
it's elastic.
Mm.
So use Uranus as elastic in your life. How much you can stretch before it breaks. And
I
that's
I
hmm,
love this. I have Uranus and Saturn in Sagittarius, 3 degrees apart. So this hits for me.
right.
Yeah,
So
because I
because you
know
have
I also have important planets in Libra, so I am very like, following social rules and like wanting to
Mm,
not, rock the boat too much. But also I'm like, yeah, but we don't need to do it in that way. Like we can do it this
exactly.
way. Yeah.
Exactly. So that's perfect. You're one of you're the generation that I'm talking about. This is exactly the change bringers, but not in a revolutionary kind of way. Let's
Like we don't need to
destroy.
burn it to the ground.
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
Yes.
Although some things might need to be burned to the ground, but not everything.
But in general, we can take the best from the tradition, implement something new, and create a new world with the blend of two,
Mm.
which I feel that we need more in life, in the world in general.
Right.
Not just, pulling up into sides. Let's find the best of one. It's hard. I
Yes.
understand it's hard,
Yes.
but
It's a constant ongoing struggle, it's a thing you work with every day. I
yeah,
love that idea of the elastic though. That's
yeah,
great. Yeah.
yeah.
Amazing. Well, any other final thoughts on either Uranus or Mercury or I mean any other just like astrology thoughts that you want to share on this
Oh,
day?
thank you. No, it's about both Mercury and Uranus about our nervous, as I mentioned, our nervous system,
Mm.
our nervous connections with our brain and with the rest of our bodies. So be also very mindful that you need to calm your nervous system with both of them. I didn't mention that, so that I think it's very important because I'm dealing with it on daily basis. And I'm telling you from experience, it's hard. You don't have to meditate in the sense that you feel, oh, I need to, rest my mind or meditate or find it. No, you can find other ways uh, to um, to find a way to release the nervous tensions. Cry, walk barefoot on the grass, just walk, be in the nature, take baths. There's many other ways you can, you know. And then at the end, as Anne Ortley says, one of the astrologers, she was my mentor. She says, follow your moon. So when you feel that your Mercury and Uranus are highlighted, or you feel more kind of things, and you're kind of not ready for them, or you don't know how to embrace them, or the changes, or the information, or the thoughts, or the ideas, or whatever is happening. Do your moon, because if you make your moon happy, everything's gonna be much easier.
That's
Okay.
really lovely.
Yeah.
Can I ask, how do you do your moon?
I just read a book. Uh,
Okay, okay,
or
that's nice.
or listen to a podcast. Usually it's about astrology because, it's what I like. Also a good movie or a show.
Okay.
Uh, but I have, that's the way I love it. I just, something that calms my mind is to calm my mind and my nervous system is to do something that I really enjoy. And astrology is, of course, number one. Or just, I love mystery. I love, watching mystery shows or mystery movies or reading a good book, mystery book, of course. So that's another thing. So stuff like that makes me really happy. Just, reading a book and just enjoying it. So
Yeah.
it depends, there's a moon in Taurus probably has chocolate, maybe not too much, but you could have chocolate if you feel that you need to calm your nervous system down. Don't have like a big chocolate, have two blocks, but stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, or Leo moon can go and just go to, go out or dance or have some fun, do
Yeah.
something creative. There's lots of ways, but do your moon because it's very important. If your moon is not happy, you're not gonna be happy.
That's beautiful. Well, look at that. We got Mercury, Uranus, and some extra moon tips for the.
Yeah. It comes from my moon Mercury conjunction, so
Yeah.
it comes in a bundle with me. So
I Well, that's why I said, can I ask how you do your moon? Because it is so
yeah,
close to the Mercury. But I
yeah.
love just like the reading is such a different way of expressing that Gemini energy as opposed to, the output. There's that input with the Gemini, which is really nice. I feel like that would feed your moon so nicely.
I
So,
love to do puzzles as well.
oh,
So I love
so
Sudoku. I love jigsaw puzzles. I love any kind of, search and find anything that can. It really calms me down.
yeah, that makes total
Yeah.
sense. All those
Playing,
pieces.
yeah, playing cards, like stuff like to anyway. Maybe
Yeah,
it's too much, but that's how I do my moon. Yeah.
amazing. Well, thank you for sharing that. And thank you for sharing all of your insights on Mercury
Mhm.
and Uranus. This was so lovely. I feel like I learned so much.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's so nice to talk to you. So you the space you gave me, it was kind and nice, and it was the natural flow. I felt so at ease, felt so like at home. My mood is happy.
Oh, that's so lovely. I'm so glad. My moon in Cancer, that makes like my moon in Cancer really happy. Oh, that's
Great.
awesome. That's such a good place to end it on
I
our
love
little
it.
moons connecting.
I love it. I love it.